Hi, and welcome to The Leader's Edge. I'm Emily Chee, and I'm with my co host, Georgia Donaldson. We are leadership coaches and facilitators throughout this show, and we are on a mission to inspire leaders like you to sharpen their competitive advantage and make a positive impact in your organization and community. We've all seen it, a company invests thousands upon thousands into a high energy training session. The folders are pretty, the energy is high, and the feedback forms are glowing. 3 weeks later, the folders are gathering dust, and the team is back to their old habits. Today, we are exploring why training is only half the battle. If you aren't focusing on the development side of your L&D, you are not investing. You're just spending. So let's start with this question. On a scale of 1 to 10, where 10 is high, how effective do you think your training spend is? Are you getting the return on investment that you want?
Okay, Emily, I'm so happy we're doing this one this morning because both of us, as leadership coaches and as trainers and facilitators, this one hits home
Yes.
because we always want to make sure that our programs move not only the giving part, the training, but the development part of it as well. So, what's the distinction? Let's look at the distinction then between training and development. And we want to do it in simple terms. So, training is a process of acquiring new skills and information or knowledge. So, you think of the trainer who is imparting some knowledge. Now, let's look at development. What is development? Now, that's more a process. So, that's a continuous process now of growth. And that's a refinement now of people's capabilities over time. And if we were to break this down in real terms, what we need to see from the training spend is application. And
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes that's what's missing. Have you seen that, where the
Yeah.
application is what's missing?
Yeah.
Right. So if we were to think of an analogy, let's think of a toolbox. The difference now between adding a hammer to your toolbox and knowing how to use that hammer. That's how we're stacking up training and development. Are you using that hammer on a tiny pin, or are you using that hammer on a nail, and the force with which you're using it? So that's how the application comes in.
Yeah, and Georgia is probably, are you using the hammer at all? Because it's
There,
probably
I
sitting
didn't think of
down
that one.
island does.
Yes.
So, Georgia, I guess if we think of it, training can be can feel transactional, right? Like a
Yes.
one-off occurrence, something a day we go off on. Like it's almost like a perk. We get a day off to go training, right? And that is short term in nature. It's good. It's fun. We gain something by it, right? So like we had a training program on X or Y or Z. We did the training, but development, as you said, it is transformational
Yes.
because it goes beyond the actual day of the training or the week or the hour of the training and the event or the workshop into the day-to-day activities that we are doing while we work.
Yes.
So transformation then is really the change that we want to see the participants have from having done the training. And that is where, as you said, the development comes in, which
Yes.
is
Yes.
also where we're seeing the return on the investment, right?
And
Because
that's what the company is looking for.
that is exactly what the company is for, because looking for, because we're not just spending, we want to see the change happen. We want to see the implementation, the execution, the participants having the extra knowledge and capacity
Yes.
build, right?
That
So
impact.
yeah, the impact of the training. So give me an example, Georgia. Like what, tell me, like when we think about this, we've done this so much times. I know we've seen it.
Yes.
Tell me, let's talk about it some more. What is an
All
example?
right. Good. So, a nice one that comes to mind is a program on emotional intelligence, a training session on emotional intelligence. And let's look at two groups. So, we could have a group that does the training, and they have a wonderful time. They get all the information, they know all the pillars of emotional intelligence, and they go back. Then we have a second group. They also do the training, they get all the pillars and everything. But what's different about it, and another portion is added to it, where you now have coaching as a companion to the training that they get.
Mm-hmm.
What happens? What's the difference between the two? The first group that does just the training and getting the information, they go back and they get caught up in their day to day work. And the training, the knowledge that they got, where is it? Got lost somewhere in that manual that they got. And when
Yeah.
situations hit them, they hardly have the tools to do the application.
Yeah, the
But let's
problem is
think of
they didn't
new
practice. They
practice.
did not put
Yes.
into practice what they learned. I guess
Yes.
there was no way or structured way of doing it or helping
For them
them
to
to do it. So
transfer.
when you get back to work, you just get back into your old routine.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. So when you think of group two now, so group two had that component of coaching in it. So they were
Mm-hmm.
able to practice, they had vibrant conversations with their coach. They were dropped in situations, what would you do if so and so were to happen? So when they go back into the workspace, they've already started practicing. So it
Yeah.
is still fresh and it
Yeah.
now says to them, this is how I can transfer that knowledge that I got.
Yeah.
That's the magic about coaching.
Absolutely. So
Yeah.
coaching is not it's encouraging them to
Mm-hmm.
practice. It's
Yes.
cementing the learning, and
Yes.
it's also possible that as they learn and they see how more effective they are being by
Mm-hmm.
applying the information that they've learned, they then get encouraged to continue to do it even
Right.
more. So it
Right.
becomes embedded
It
in their
becomes
behavior, in
embedded
their practice.
in what they do. Yeah.
Yes,
And as a coach as well, you know that when you're going through a structure like this, you are challenging and supporting the person you're working with. So that's
absolutely.
what makes a difference as well.
Yeah, yeah, and holding them to that lovely word, account. Because
Mm-hmm.
it's encouraging, but it's also knowing that you have a deliverable. So
Mm-hmm.
my coach is going to be coming. Let me do something. Even if it doesn't feel natural in the beginning, because it doesn't, right?
Yes.
It doesn't
Yes.
usually feel as easy to do
Yes.
something differently,
Right. So they
right?
start building
So
that muscle. It's a
they
muscle that they're
start
building.
building the muscle
Mm-hmm.
because it is structured
Mm-hmm.
into the program. So, Georgia,
Right.
I completely agree. And this is actually something I've been doing with all of my workshops now.
Okay, good.
So, it's something I've started. I've always advocated for it. And now I'm actually
Mm-hmm.
being even more strong in my recommendations and encouraging
Mm-hmm.
companies to think of it as an investment that
Mm-hmm.
will make the return happen. And
I
so,
like.
not just have the spending of
Mm-hmm.
doing the training, tick the box, we trained you, why aren't you
Right.
doing it? But giving them that extra. And it really, if you think about it, I mean, the cost is paying for itself many
Yes.
times over because what you really want is not to have the box ticked. You
No.
want to have the behavior change
The
or
behavior
or
change.
the new process implemented or whatever it is, the change you want to see, that is
Mm-hmm.
what you want to have. So I think what is happening with all of that is that what we get is the capacity of people increasing,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
instead of just having the knowledge increase, but
Yes.
nothing go beyond that,
That's it. That's it. You don't want
Yeah,
to just regurgitate by rote what you have
yeah,
learned. And I
yeah,
like the word you use, the capacity.
yeah, absolutely,
Nice.
absolutely. So, Georgia, I think it's time for us to wrap this up with some
Mm-hmm.
actions. What do we
Yeah.
want to tell people that they should do, even
Mm-hmm.
if, wherever they scored? So, if you scored
Yeah.
low on the effectiveness of the training spend,
Mm-hmm.
definitely do this. Even if you didn't score yourself low, I think it's
Yes.
worthwhile to do these actions. So, Georgia, let's start off.
Yeah.
What are some
All
things
right.
would you like to suggest?
Okay, great. And I'm glad you went back to where you started because when you started, you asked them to score themselves. So as you
Yeah,
said, if you scored low, let's talk about it. Maybe what you can do is take some time to review that last training and development program or workshop that you had, for your team. So that's the first thing. Just stop and review what you did.
yeah,
Then the second thing now would be to look at the effectiveness of what you did. For example, what percentage of your team members now who were trained, did their behavior change? Have you seen something that has changed in them. So those are two things, right off the bat that I thought about. What is there
Yeah.
anything else that you thought of, Em?
Yeah, I mean, additionally, I think so. If that percentage was low in terms of
Mm-hmm.
you didn't see the changes, therefore you didn't actually meet the objectives you had set for that training
Right.
program, can you still introduce some coaching or coaching
Mm-hmm.
component to improve
Mm-hmm.
the effectiveness of that training that was just done if it was fairly recent?
Right.
So think about how can you improve by adding something to ensure that the behavior change or the
Yes.
effectiveness is increased. So that's
Yeah.
one. And I think when designing your next program, whatever it is, consider
Mm-hmm.
how you can make it more effective with
Mm-hmm.
with a coaching element included, from
Yes.
the start,
Yes.
so that your budget and everything includes it.
Right. That's
Georgia,
good.
I know, like, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I know I say no, that's good. That's perfect. We gave
Yeah.
four things that they can do.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. So I know, like in your past roles, when you were in a position with leading culture
Mm-hmm.
change and learning and development programs,
Yes.
you would have designed programs like this.
Mm-hmm.
So what I wanted to say to people, we gave you four things, we gave you four ideas, and if you're having trouble, you could reach out to us. That's what
Oh
we
yeah.
do. We do
Yes.
this in our sleep every day.
Yes. Yes.
So I just want to encourage people, like, don't feel stuck. If you are stuck, there is help, and do yourself a favor and just reach out. We're right there on
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn. So
Mm-hmm.
today, what we've explored, Georgia, with this lovely audience and anybody who's listening after the fact,
Yes.
I think it's about how you're going to turn the information that you get from
Mm-hmm.
training into transformation, to
Yes.
remember and to always remember why coaching is the missing link that can
Mm-hmm.
actually secure your return on investment from your
Ah,
learning and
love
development
it.
skills.
From information to transformation, and coaching is that missing link. And
Coaching
these
is
are the coaches that help to bridge the gap.
yes, we are. So, guys, we hope you found this really useful, and we really look forward to any comments or any feedback you have on this subject. We are very passionate about it. So, thank you for the time. Thank you for ahead of time for whatever you're going to share with us, and we just
Yes,
want to wish you a wonderful, wonderful rest of your day and week.
the week ahead. Thanks. Take care, everybody.